frequency555.com, and John and I just got done with a class with Kelly Jean Moore, and she teaches yoga. And please, Kelly, tell us more about your practice and how it enhances your life.
Okay.
Yeah, well, for me, I started yoga pretty young, and I came to a really just by the books Vinyasa class, so it was just a basic sort of heat building, flowing, power-based movement practice. There wasn't a lot of the chatter, there wasn't a lot of the esoteric talk in that one, but it immediately resonated with me on a deep level. I felt like there was something there. I had one of those really pivotal aha moments, even at 22, like there's some kernel of something here that matters to me, and everything just fell into place as far as teaching. Little by little it just sort of happened, but used it to create a sort of ground in my life, center, a sort of positive direction. It's important for people practicing yoga not to get hooked to one style, one teacher, one shtick, because all of us will find a shtick. Yoga should be a balancing agent in your life, not something that swings you so penduluously in one direction that you attach to it and identify with it and then injure yourself and harm yourself. You can go too far. So being consistent in your aim to be balanced, in your goal to be present, yes, but allowing for variation within that consistency to create a more viable balance for your body is really important, I think, in the long run. Very popular style is Vinyasa, and that's just a general flow. And then within Vinyasa, you've got a lot of subsets of styles. Sort of the grandfather of all Vinyasa would be Ashtanga yoga, and that's what I really started with, was Ashtanga. And then you have other branches that kind of have grown from that style, power yoga, which is, still Vinyasa flow, which means it's rhythmic, it's connected, it builds heat, so it's dynamic, muscular, has sort of a dance quality to it. You can go further down that road into things like a sort of a Shiva Ray prana flow style of yoga, which is still Vinyasa, but it's, I always say it's all second chakra and fourth chakra. It's all sex and love. It's a lot of opening of your hips and opening of your heart. And it's very dancey and very flowy, so you'll really, really get into it, especially if you're an ex-dancer. They love that practice because it is really rhythmic, has a lot of repetitive movements that are very dancey, and it's kind of a strong, in a way, it's kind of a strong feminine practice, a Shakti energy. And there's other ones, Anusara is another big flow. But then there's this whole other sweeping movement now, this popularity of Yin, which I said is the passive practice. There's also Vin Yoga, which I love. Vin Yoga is actually continues from the same lineage. You have Krishnamacharya in the 1930s and 40s and 50s. Pattabhi Jois took everyone in the Ashtanga direction, and then Krishnamacharya's son, Desikachar, took a whole other route with his father over the years, doing a kind of a yoga therapy that he ended up coining Vin Yoga, which is repetitive movements that align with breath, but it's much more mellow and much more therapeutic and prescriptive to deal with particular bodies. It's also really cool. And then there's Iyengar Yoga, which also comes out of that tree, but is non-Vinyasa. In other words, it's not linked together. So you step in and out of the poses. The poses are held for much longer. An Iyengar practice is almost always taught in a way that's very, very anatomically detailed, very clear, very direct. It's all about the structure. And so in a way that too is very therapeutic. And I always recommend that people who do Vinyasa yoga take some Iyengar yoga because they need to know the underlying structure of the poses and work those so they can plug them back into that fast rhythmic movement so that they're stable. And I know I'm going to leave some out, but Ashtanga and Iyengar are your two big sort of sweeping sides. And all the Vinyasas over here with that. And then Vin Yoga is kind of over here. Yin Yoga is somewhere out there. And then there's tons of other stuff coming out nowadays that are hybrids. And Payo, that's like a Pilates yoga mix. a lot of some of the popular stuff, they're sort of weeding out all the different philosophy, because if you think of yoga in terms of how long and how tangled up its history is in Hinduism and in the sort of Indian history of all the different darshanas, all the different schools of philosophy and religion, it's so tangled up. It's got so many different ideas going on, and each teacher kind of just picks a little here, a little there. It can be really confusing. So you find a lot of modern teachers, popular teachers, they just drop all of that. And they keep it really sparse, and they keep it more about the movement itself as a practice, which is okay for your average student, I think. And then when you want to go deeper, you find teachers that can take you in a direction that seems logical for you.
Well, bringing that back to yoga, I liked what you said today in class with you can continue on a negative path, and you can switch that, and you can go on a greater path of positive thinking and correct alignment, and change your life and your life path essentially to positive.
You can, and it's not, it's not like looking at your life and judging it and being angry with yourself, because that just gets us into more of that sense of dark negativity. But being able to look at your choices honestly and hold a space to say, like, this is what I've been doing, and this is okay. And then keep showing up for yourself, and you keep showing up, making this positive energy, sort of this, it's like putting money in the happy bank. You just keep putting the deposits in and putting the deposits in, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, and pretty soon you just kind of stop doing this other stuff. You don't have to bully it, you don't have to berate yourself. You just stop doing it. You slide in the other direction. You don't even know it, And it's all really available to us nowadays. You can find all of this stuff in most cities nowadays. So it's there to keep us healthy, to pull us back towards the earth, to pull us back towards our center, to pull us back into relationship with ourselves and our planet and one another, so we don't keep pulling out and away and isolating ourselves.
Come to Charleston, South Carolina. Seems to be a very big yoga hub, I've noticed.
It's odd. It just took off in the last 5 years. Everyone's just blown up.
Yeah. And come take from Kelly Jean Moore.
Thank you.
Sure.